Hello, welcome back to Neophyte Chronicles, Greater Shores, episode 9?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Cool.
We think
Wow, I look like a ghost. I hope that's not what you all see, but it's okay. Yeah. No, it's great. Last we left off, our party got into the wizard kind of, I guess you could call it like the campus town, campus community. Does that feel fair?
The college town.
The college town thing, yeah. Around the Solcardian College, behind this great wall, and before that, from their departure, they drugged several elves and totally thwarted an incredible encounter that I'd set up, and I'm not salty about it at all. But, you know, anything to expedite the plot, am I right? So within the college, our shipwrecked delivery crew unloaded their goods and had some free time to sort of wander the market after catching some lip from the gate guardsman wizard.
Literally gatekeeping by the gatekeepers.
Gatekeeping by the gatekeepers, and magical gatekeeping.
Username checks out.
Mm-hmm. We've had gatekeeping, we've had girl bossery, but when will we get the gaslighting?
Oh, it's coming up.
I already tried.
You better
that.
believe it.
Oh, that's true. We tried.
And wandering through like this crazy kind of bizarre of starting to see more like non-humanoid creatures, more varied species that have set up shop here. You all heard some commotion down by the absolute just wizard fuckery tower of the Solcardian College. Just a massive spire that dilates and contracts at sort of
Don't say it
odd
like that.
angles with like other like walkways and battlements and towers just sticking off at odd angles, like absolute like architectural nonsense. And sort of at the base there, you guys saw a crowd gather, heard a crowd gather, saw the crowd, and within you saw a familiar furry face of Saul, Lakoth's companion, and you all saw with them an elf, sort of in traveler's garb, like this light sort of like leather wear that you've seen some other elves wearing, just covered in like dried blood, just like it looked like they came from a war zone and just beelined it back here, just it panicked in and out of that sort of Eladrin dialect in common, frantically, it seems like pleading with the crowd. And as you guys kind of approached, Saul spotted you and bounded over to the party. So first of all, first things first here, would everybody roll me a perception check?
Why do I keep looking at this?
It's a couple of 20s. Perfect.
19 plus 3, 22.
22.
7.
Head shake.
You said insight?
Yeah.
Perception, right?
Perception.
Yeah,
Perception.
1.
5.
That one or
No,
modified one?
modified.
Okay. 5. So you're all kind of taken by this crowd. You guys see Saul, Kels, you just like drop down. You're like, come here. And Saul like immediately, like totally outside the context of the situation. And the elf just like looks panicked, locks eyes with you, Yev, and you recognize this elf from the Friet farm. They were one of the two sort of casters that seemed to be kind of like leading that band.
Are they the one that burned me?
Wait, are they the one that
Is that the one that-
Oberon was made fall in love with him?
I charmed him. I didn't make him fall in love with me. That might have been accidental, though.
You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do, because I didn't decide that. I'm gonna roll a d20.
Okay.
Do you want highs or lows for charm?
Highs.
Highs.
I really don't know what that meant.
That's a 1.
Oh, he hates
Hopefully
you.
indicative of the rest of this session. So yeah, for sure, it is the other one.
Okay.
It is the other
Is
one.
this the one that
That's
burned me?
I'm gonna say no to that.
Okay.
So
the one that tried to kill me.
see, this is why you have a lore master, or you take better notes. So this one did neither of those things, whether that's true or not, because fuck y'all. Kind of like this like orangey complexion goes from kind of like a deep kind of like autumny orange to kind of like a lighter like milkier tone like around their cheeks. So this Eladrin catches you, Yev, and turns towards you, sees the rest of your party, sees Saul, and just like again in this sort of like Sylvan dialect, and the words that are coming through that you understand are in the common that you like half understand, right? So it's like an immigrant to another country.
Yeah.
They're both foreigners speaking half in their native tongue, half in the local, right? Desperately trying to talk to you. You can see up close with your 22 perception, this elf looks, I would say, like a little fairer, a little more feminine than some of the others you've seen. If there is like heavy dimorphism, some of them have sharper
22,
features.
I've keyed into elf gender.
No, 100%. You know, so I think you're safe to say this is probably she, her. So as she approaches you, she's just like, you can see she's been crying. She looks like she hasn't eaten in days.
Oh, just like me
She
for real.
just absolutely is at the end of their career. You know, just like she's just been, and so she's dirty and just dried, caked blood and like dirt and you know, matted, stringy hair. Not the sort of like fair demeanor you saw of them just a day or 2 days ago. She's just like pleading with you animatedly.
Quick question.
Yeah.
About elf anatomy. Do
Yeah.
elves bleed red, or is this like a weird Vulcan situation?
Yeah, I would say they've got red blood.
Okay.
I would say there's definitely it's you know when blood gets like really heavily oxidized and it gets sort of like that brownish, like almost rust colored.
Right.
So she's mostly caked in that, which has mixed with like dirt and other. So if there's other like viscera on her person, you couldn't tell, but you can see her and be like, no, that is for sure dried blood.
Okay.
Most of it, and so you know whatever implication that is. And yeah, she's just like pleading with you like animatedly. So what do you do there?
I guess it depends on what actually she's saying, because like, what is she pleading for?
Yeah, so the you did a perception. So
Healing, because I'm not your girl.
mhm. If you want to do like an insight or anything else you could think to do for language.
Investigation.
If you could make an argument for investigation.
Okay, so this is, you said Sylvan or Celeste?
It's Sylvan and this regional dialect of Common
Okay.
that is a little weird.
Common is a little weird.
Mhm.
I have heard Oberon try to like
Yeah.
communicate with like the Fey knowledge.
Uh-huh.
So neither of these are my languages, but I have kind of like, it's like being in the room with someone doing Duolingo.
Yes.
Where I'm like, I
yes.
don't know it, but I feel like I've got like the gist of it. Maybe
What's
slightly.
your intelligence modifier?
That's a +1.
+1. So I'm gonna say, if you want to use investigation to piece together what you have, with a +1 intelligence, I'll let you roll just straight here. You get one shot, and we'll
Okay,
see.
yeah, because my insight is only +1.
I would say to get
Investigation's
the
+3.
gist of what she's saying, you need like a 10 that you can kind of absorb from context, but a 15 to start to get useful information.
What's the Duolingo score for Sylvan?
I have no idea, but I got 20.
So
+3.
Nat 20?
Nat 20.
Okay. Oh my.
I have a fucking transcendental language experience.
Yeah, you've dealt with a lot of people's problems, issues, and
Issues.
you've dealt with a lot of people who might speak broken language and have come to your
Yeah.
family for help. You're honestly, you are kind of an expert in this exact dynamic, right? Language aside, you've seen someone in these sorts of terrorized positions.
Yeah.
And you've been there for them, and you know that's sort of an environment that you've seen professionally.
Oh, why?
Would you like to know? How do you feel about your kneecaps?
I don't have those.
Oh,
Me neither.
Do cats have those? Okay.
no.
Keep going.
We've survived live editing. Thank you, Toby. You're fucking killing it. Only minor camera issues after our remote's set up, and if that's what we're left with after that one shot, that's pretty good. So yeah, I would say what you get from this elf without understanding. She's gesticulating, and in common you're getting words of ambush, blood, slaughter, death. You're getting research team, and you're able to piece it together. And after being like, okay, slow down, repeat that part, you're repeating the word back, and you're like, is it like this, people, person, dead, kind
Was
of.
it elf on elf crime?
Yeah, no.
Is it the other team? We had the different regions of elf that were fighting each other, because that's why we got not friendly fire. That's why they shot us, because there were other elves. Was this them, or was this some new?
So you work through it with her, and basically what you can gather with a nat 20 is that sort of northeast of here, towards sort of the Great Mountains and this region where the less aggressive elves in the southern forest. This is often called the and I'm going to check myself here on my own lore that I have ready. The border woods, sort of northeast of Solcard, there's elves that have mostly kept to themselves. You remember this from Saul's kind of Lakoth's sort of brief overview. And they are sort of near this mountainous region way to the northeast. And so it seems like she came from there and witnessed a research team from the college be slaughtered by some sort of abominations. And you're not able to gather a whole lot, but she the way she's talking about it sounds like she thinks you're familiar with this sort of this diaspora of people, right? And this sort of natural issue that exists. So she speaks with sort of a familiarity in her problem, and so you're able to pretty much piece together the whole story there. In the meantime, Saul immediately starts just chittering at you directly, Kels, and is talking to Oberon and Calagon and Juniper as well, and talking to you guys with his little paws, trying to communicate something really frantically.
Oh, my stinky little friend. It's been so long.
You see just his demeanor and just kind of rubs his temples. With his sort of pseudo ferret little hands, and looks at you guys and
Did someone fall down a well? What's up?
Can I give him a little berry thing from our tramlix?
Yeah, no, you give him a good berry and he's takes it, eats, and then tries talking to you all, gesticulating a conversation, chittering. And goes back and eats the good berry and is
It's an interesting dance.
So cute, little guy.
And you all, is anybody kind of paying attention to the crowd here? Just player honesty, yeah.
It's taking full
yes,
mode
yes.
to have this conversation.
Gave him a good berry. I would say between Juniper and Calagon, are you guys paying attention to the crowd?
Yeah, I already know that we can't communicate with that creature, so.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, so you see kind of what would be these more instructor professors. You see kind of young students starting around kind of middle teens of various species in sort of their robes. There's definitely a track system that you can look at someone and know who they are and kind of what year they are. and plenty of like merchants and other folks gathered around, and they all like begin like whispering and talking to you guys. And what did you two get on your perception rolls? Because we're gonna keep that going.
5.
So if you had scored high, you would have seen several of these sort of like hooded figures that aren't quite professors kind of break off from the group. And as this is all going on, from within the tower, it sort of has this like great arched doorway that's maybe like 40 feet wide, like this tremendous tower. You guys are right outside the entrance. You look inside and it just goes like this sort of like cavernous maw. And from it, you see kind of like 3 by 5 these rows of like these sort of like copper, maybe like pseudo steampunk but way smoother, right? Like these brass soldiers, maybe like 6'2", 6'5", just kind of not move like super rigidly, right? They move with some like more organic fluidity, but just very, very deliberately they begin to leave this entrance and encircle you guys between yourselves and the crowd. And maybe 30 of these like automatons, these constructs, move in. I think you all could see they have no visible weaponry on them, but they are just kind of these smooth frames. They look like very, very solid, very imposing. Not like overly wide, right? But they are tall and solid, and you don't see a lot of like the holes in the plating or weak points. These are very streamlined creatures. And I think as you guys are taking this situation, even the two of you, they move, pretty deliberately, and you're caught off guard, and you're separated with this sort of inner ring of automatons between yourselves and the crowd.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah. So on the elves in the elf in the middle, you guys ring of constructs, and the rest of the crowd, you can hear like kind of whatever murmuring, or the crowd like totally dies at this point. It gets eerily quiet, and then from above you guys, sort of descending almost like a projection from kind of an upper floor of the tower, you guys see the head of like this massive insect.
Ooh.
So
What
kind of like
kind of
these
insect?
bulbous compound eyes, sort of like long oblong head with like some like antenna, right, almost grasshopper like, and like these two mandibles. My only like frame of reference. What are the alien species from Mass Effect that I'm blanking on? Where like they have a fully functional mouth, right? Where it's not like this is like an active mandible. It's sort of like it looks like an evolutionary kind of like holdover. So the regular mouth, it looks like they would be able to articulate themselves, but this massive projection, like this sort of like pale green carapace to it, and it you see kind of like a thin, like almost like plated segmented neck, and that's all this giant like projection, and it begins to speak with sort of like a booming, surprisingly humanoid voice. God, I should have prepared this line more effectively. This is not
Is that
what
what he
my head was
says?
at. Yeah.
It's okay, bud.
Yeah, no.
We'll give you another chance.
Do you want to go back and come down again?
Yeah.
Take
We'll all
it
be
from
so
the top.
shocked.
Everybody, places.
No.
Walk back off.
What the hell is going on here? Who are you, guards?
We want to press charges
circle.
against these robots. They just marched up, divided the crowd into.
Yeah, no, that's not how any of this works.
Dad?
So who the fuck are all of you? What are, surprisingly, like this candid voice of just like, okay, why is this happening?
First, can I be the first to say that you have beautiful eyes?
It kind of like zero ins on you, and I think sense the like automatons like directly behind you, just like take like half a step closer. Nothing else though. He's like, all right. So
that behavior used to bother me, but now it's like an old pair of shoes. I find it comforting.
You're welcome.
I know I can count on you to do whatever it is you're doing.
Whenever I'm threatened, I just flirt. I have to.
This is it's
I
the
get
fight or flight or flirt.
Exactly.
I'm glad you went with flirt, not the other option.
Get your mind out of the
So kind of like this rippling voice, just kind of like commands with a much more authoritative voice after like clearing its throat. Disperse, all of you, disperse, and everyone kind of like whispers to themselves, mulls about for a bit, and then you kind of like feel kind of like a radiating kind of energy, like a wave rippling out from the tower as the voice takes on an even more like kind of a demanding tone of disperse, and the whole crowd kind of started by professors with some hesitancy, right, some latency, begins to be like, all right, come on, and like they take their classes back to whatever they're doing. Merchants begin to disperse, and that in just a couple minutes, everyone's gone, and that row of automatons still has you, Saul, and the elf encircled. The projected head sort of shrinks down from its maybe like 20-foot diameter down to maybe 4 feet tall, right, just above eye line, and appears in front of you all maybe like 5 feet back, and speaks kind of more directly to you all. Well, I'm sorry about that display. This is really, usually things are a lot quieter here, which is why I'm particularly interested why there's a blood-covered elf, and you all who seem to know who he is. What's happening? What the fuck's happening? You see the insect, like its antennas twitch, its mandibles twitch for a second. It's like, sure, whatever. Just kind of like this, like energetic, sort of like nervous, disposition of like. So why are you doing this? What are you all doing here?
Can I touch your feelers?
Do you want to just go for it, or are you asking for permission?
No, I'm gonna ask.
Disregard her. She's still high.
So I'm not physically here with you all. So that's kind of a dumb question.
Can I?
The rest of you,
Go
and
ahead.
it kind of zones in. The creature kind of like zones in on you, of like,
Yeah.
hey, because you're kind of like closest to the elf. What the fuck is happening?
I don't know. We saw a crying bloody lady and we came over because we're good people.
Are we?
It's your problem.
I know about as much.
You two seem to know each other.
I have a very friendly face.
Uh-huh.
Crying women love me.
I'm a demon.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to.
I have a +4 in deception.
Yeah. If it's a lie, roll deception. Otherwise,
I'm choosing to believe it isn't.
Okay.
I think that's
roll
a lie.
roll persuasion. Roll persuasion.
Never mind, it's a lie. I guess we better act.
Roll deception.
It's a 6 + 4, so it's a 10.
So if this creature had a brow to furrow, right? If it wasn't like an exoskeleton, but you can see something in the eyes and the way like its antenna and mandibles move for a second. It's like absently processing what you're saying, and it's like looks at your like ibex horns and your like blue like skin. It's like, all right. So no one wants to be helpful. Is that what I'm getting here?
First, can I ask, how should I address you?
Address me. I am. Oh yes. You all are clearly simpletons.
Correct.
I am assistant headmaster Vondon.
Okay.
You may address me as such.
Okay, so Assistant Headmaster Vondon, or Vondon if I may.
You may not. You absolutely may not.
So Vondon, I think we've come to like a little misunderstanding here. Like we just came here to like deliver some miscellaneous goods, and we got caught up in this. We had this. We noticed that our friend Saul, who we have here, he's a little cute little fair guy, was scared and bloodied, and with this elf that we have no association with. Yeah, that's
So you know that little thing?
yeah. He's our
Okay.
friend, I think. Is he our friend? Do we like
Vonda
him?
Okay. Yeah.
again
he is.
contemplates for a moment and says, okay, I'm just gonna corroborate some things real quick, so you all just hang tight.
What does that word mean?
And the projection vanishes, and I will say collectively, you all feel kind of almost like an acute motion sickness, but a lot less severe. You feel that kind of like swirling pressure in your temples, your sort of inner ear. And if anyone wants to make a wisdom save, you can.
I'll try.
But it's not like a really intense pressure.
Wait, would we use our saving throws plus for just regular?
It would be a wisdom saving throw, and and this is a choice. You do not have to do this if
18.
you don't want. So 18,
16.
16,
10.
10,
16.
16,
10.
10. All right. So the DC was 17. Who beat a 17? Okay, just You're on a fucking roll. So you all feel this pressure, Yev. You sort of
Migraine.
you sort of like and shake it off and just kind of like rub your temples, and you feel just like a brief, maybe like moment of nausea and sort of like your upper esophagus, and it settles into your lower stomach, and then it's gone. And you look around, and the rest of your party is just like a little bit like as you guys kind of feel this like force invade your mind really briefly. Does anybody? Well, Yev, since you passed, you can also give me an Arcana roll if you'd
boy.
like.
Okay. 13.
13. You guys are Arcana. You can totally tell like it's Vonda sending some kind of magic out, probably some kind of like mind probe thing, which is again not outside the sort of applications of magic that you've seen before. This specific this isn't like the learned magic or natural magic. It feels like some sort of other force that's causing this to happen, but you can't tell what's up beyond that. So this lasts like maybe 20 seconds. You guys feel like this brief flash of nausea, and then like totally gone. And then Vonda comes back in sort of that 4 foot wide projection. Mandibles twitch, antenna go, and he's like, well, all right, interesting. It looks like you folks in the elf have met before, and Saul, interesting. Well, why don't you all, and you see kind of like a 3-fingered kind of like segmented hand that end in these really short, like maybe like half-inch little points here, like beckon you. And he says, why don't you all come inside, come into my office, and we can discuss matters further. I don't need to leave you outside. We can, your friend, friend. I use that as sort of a pejorative term, but we can pull you all inside, get your friend cleaned up, and sit for a moment. I do appreciate you all making that delivery from Easton. It's been a little while.
I think we could trust him.
Can we roll insight?
Yeah, by all means. Anyone who wants to roll insight can, and just tell me specifically what you're trying to figure out, or what impression you're trying to get.
I'm trying to get his motives.
Okay.
I got an 8. My question was, does inside mean jail?
Does inside mean jail? With an 8, you don't get any signs that give you that impression.
Okay.
I got an 18.
Yeah.
Does this little insect creature mean us harm?
They seem a little kind of like unfocused and bedraggled, but also they seem to be more sharp-witted than a first impression would give. But they don't seem hostile.
I got a
On
20.
an 18. On a 20, modified or nat?
Nat.
Nat. Okay.
Yeah,
Nat 20. What are you looking for?
I am wondering kind of like what this person bug thing wants from us.
It seems like they want this to not be happening.
Okay,
Like
that's-
now.
good.
It seems like they want this to stop, and they were ready to just like fucking kick you in the butt, but now they've just you kind of explained yourself patiently, calmly, and he's like, okay, come in, like just come inside. We'll talk more from there. Probably not hostile or aggressive. Like, this is a real situation that's come. It's assistant headmaster, right? He's been called or alerted to deal with this, right? Probably just wants to talk, get a better sense of what's going on, and make this whole situation stop. What are you looking for, and what'd you roll?
A nat one.
A nat one. What are you trying to...
His motives.
His motives, you have never, like, this thing is fucking creepy. You've seen a lot of diverse species before. All of them sort of organic, like endoskeleton-based creatures. You know, some sort of scaled lizard folk, dragon folk, not crazy in your travel on your home continent. But your only, like, frame of reference for kind of like these carapaced creatures are like beings of evil, like monstrosities, like creatures that need to be slayed, right? And probably not intelligent creatures that would menace people, right? So I think you are just like fully on guard. This thing is a monster, and whatever, you know, sort of like kind of like socialization this being is like giving you, right? Is a trap, and this thing is going to try to kill you.
Okay.
Toby, did you roll insight?
No.
All right. So nothing from Calagon there. I think you can kind of see these perspectives shift into your allies. Some of them get more relaxed, some of them highly on guard. And the automatons sort of part to make like a U shape for you all to like enter into the tower proper. What do y'all do?
What are they doing with the bloody elf? Do we miss that?
Bloody elf just with you.
Okay.
And I think.
Does she need treatment?
I think that you could probably assume she's gonna get
Okay.
something, someone talk to her. But yeah, he wants you all to come inside, come to his office, is the direction you were given.
I follow the bug man into his office.
So he's just a floating projected head. He's vanished. It's just you guys, automatons around you, and the kind of like maw of the Solcardian tower itself.
I go into the tower.
Cool. Does everyone else follow
Do
Oberon?
we have options? Like,
I think you can leave me alone.
You look at the automatons, and I'm not even going to make you roll for that. You do not have.
yeah. So we go.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, you all go. I would say, you know, Yev, you probably like kind of, you know, kindly, you know, gesture the elf forward, and as you all make your way inside, you see kind of almost in a membrane at the entryway, just like the entrance to the surrounding kind of town. You all pass through this kind of like sheer wall of magic that maybe you could like Oberon, you can kind of see it a little better than other folks, and maybe like Juniper you could see it better than other folks, but it's really like you got to look at it the right way, almost unnoticeable, and you all pass through. And who are my innate magic casters? Who have innate magic? You are a warlock.
I'm a warlock.
So you have a contract with your deity. You are not an
Oh,
innate magic
no, okay.
caster, and neither is Kels.
I
I think you're an innate, right? Because you are a sorcerer, and Calagon, you're a druid, right? And we have a bard as
Yep.
well, no less a Feywild bard.
Yes.
So I would say the three of you feel for perhaps the first time in your lives, sort of like, not quite like a hollow like emptiness, but your skin is a little colder than it's ever been, right? You feel a little sapped in a way that you never have. I would say it's the equivalent of physically overworking yourself. And I think if you all kind of liberate touch and summon whatever sort of natural innate magic you have, you feel your connection to it weakened after passing through that barrier. Not impossible, but weakened. And you guys can give me an insight or an arcana roll to learn more about this. And this is just for my innate spellcasters, because I don't think the rest of you noticed this.
I got a 17.
17.
9.
9. And Calagon, what did you get?
I've rolled under a 5 every time today.
Rolled under a 5. Yeah, I would say that maybe you don't even notice this at first, because, with druidic magic, it's not kind of like an ever-present thing.
Mhm.
It's something that you kind of like call upon.
Yeah, I think he would describe it as not coming from within him. It would be
Yeah.
around him. So if
Yeah.
he reaches out and can't feel it, he would feel like it's sort of his problem.
Absolutely. And,
It's still there. Oh no.
No, that's worse.
yeah, I would say druids
See
kind
this
of
thing
walk the
through.
line between innate spellcasters and learned spellcasters. But yeah, the 17 and a 9. I would say Juniper, with your paranoia, maybe you don't really notice this right away, and maybe you can chalk it up to like an anxious pit in your stomach that you're just feeling like off your game for whatever reason. Like you magically have kind of like the shakes. And Oberon, you come from the Feywild. You are a magical creature and an innate spellcaster, and you feel like you've been put in a box. Like there's a damper on here. You just crossed through some sort of dampening ward. That is probably the one that was at the gate must be different, but some kind of boundary or barrier. And this looks like a dampening ward inside the college, this wizard college for learned spellcasters to dampen sort of innate magical creatures. Yeah.
So I have my contract with my god. My god is also my grandfather, hence the horns. Can I make a case that some of it's innate?
So although you are a
Tiefling.
tiefling, do you have any spells that are because of your origin, your
Thaumaturgy, the one
race?
that I spam.
Okay, so I would say if you have any, because you have a contract with a patron who literally, because you made a deal, grants you spell slots. And
The deal
magical
was just that I
abilities.
was born. That everyone in my family exists.
Yeah, I would say, that's rad, and maybe it's not like an overt contract, but somebody is every day, you have an access to a 32nd of my power, right? 164th of my power, right? That you can call on and ping me, and then I send you spells, right? It's like remote computing. And you're just channeling that. So if there is anything from your species, if you do have thaumaturgy, and you have some sort of innate stuff, I would say you feel kind of like a small kind of
thaumaturgy, and I have
clamp
hellish
on that.
rebuke. That source
Okay.
is just
Right. You have hellish rebuke, because you're a tiefling.
Yeah.
So I would say you do feel a little bit of a clamp on that.
okay.
You're kind of like this, whatever infernal, magic is riling around in your veins is like a little dampened.
Okay.
And so you probably wouldn't have access to those spells right now.
Oh, those are my favorites.
Yeah, I would say you wouldn't have access to those spells on your high roll. Things like spell save DCs and chance to hit would have penalties for you.
Okay.
Your spell casting is going to be harder in here, but not impossible.
Notice anything
Yeah.
is amiss, or am I just
No, you don't notice a single thing. And I think, you don't even have if you want to make an argument about having insight in your party right now, we can have you kind of do a check about the Vagabond god.
should I?
Yeah, roll insight,
Okay.
fuck it. We're here.
That is 18.
So 15 on die and
17.
17 on insight. I think with a 17 on insight, you see your party a little shaken, and how about that? You fucking tripped balls last session. You saw some kind of magic auras, right? I feel like Kels is coming from a place of being a little more in tune with whatever the latent metaphysics of magic exist in this world, and different planes and realms and shit. that you see your party just like a little less effervescent than they usually are.
Oh no, you're effervescent.
And so, if you like in a paranoid moment, right? If Kels would acknowledge that to herself or not, you kind of like ring out to the Vagabond god, and go ahead and throw me a religion check with. Yeah. Throw me a religion check here.
I have a -1 in religion.
Yeah.
That's a 7.
So 7 on die with a -1. So
No, that's an 8.
An 8, so a modified 7. So yeah, on a 7, whatever thread you were feeling to your god like last session at the camp or at the outpost, you can't see it, and you start to sweat a little bit. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And I think Kels is kind of locked in. Again, you don't take things like, I don't think too intensely. You take a lot of it on the chin, and I feel like Kels is the sort of person that will kind of like disassociate from these problems and just be like, no, it's fine, it's okay, just like keep moving forward. But you're in a moment where you've had a couple of false steps here when you've really, been put to task. And I think there's a little bit of a growing, like, real anxiety that Kels has not been confronting for a long time now. That's, like, settling in where you don't feel a connection. And yeah, maybe something was up with that doorway, but you're putting it to task. You put your faith to task, and you're getting a little paranoid. You're starting to sweat.
We've lost our sparkle gang.
Yeah.
Can I make the argument that because I am both like a fey creature, like, and a bard, and because I'm extremely dramatic, that I would, upon like feeling my effervescence go away, I would just dramatically faint.
If you want to,
I do want to.
You want to. So roll a performance check, and here you're in such like a small area. We're gonna use the tray.
I got a 18.
An 18.
Performance?
Yeah, performance.
Plus 5, so 18 plus 5, whatever that is, 23.
23. So yeah, you're all kind of feeling this. You're maybe just inside the threshold, and you see just like, I mean, this is some fucking like spatial warping wizardry bullshit. The tower was like big, maybe like a 1/4 mile in diameter, and it goes up, and it's got like weird parts where it's wider, but at sort of like the base here, it's maybe like a 1/4 mile in diameter, and the sort of like main hall that you're in, like beautiful masonry work. It looks this sort of like I should look up architecture terms sometime, but this sort of like filigree like ribbing where it's like. It's very like classic medieval castle-y, right? It's not like a lot of pizzazz. It's a little utilitarian like masonry, but it's got kind of these like flourishes where like the arches kind of like descend a little bit every like 100 yards or so, right? And so you're moving through and you see just doors, and right at the front here to your left, you see kind of like this great hall where lots of people are milling about. And, offices and classrooms and all sorts of stuff kind of on this main floor. And this just like carries on in sort of like a straight line, way further than it should. And so you're all kind of taken by this, and you're this like disconnect from your magic, and Oberon just like hard falls, like smacks the ground. I would say like you fully commit.
Yes, I do.
And you're able to like stage fall in a way of like you cushion your head so you don't take like bludgeoning damage on like the stone floor.
Of course,
like you've practiced this move, but do drops and it looks like super convincing.
Y'all, I'm feeling really unsexy right now. I don't know what's going on.
And then just like hard
Great.
fall, just like you totally faking it, like totally faking it. So like opens an eye a little bit, closes it. Y'all don't see that. And I think like the elf, the Eladrin that you're with, kind of like lets out kind of like a start. And just like stress levels just spike after this sort of like traumatic incident she went through. And yeah, Oberon's lying on the floor. Does anybody want to help him down the hall?
I'm
in whatever way you
he
see
also
fit?
needs medical attention.
I do.
Do any of you make a move to help Oberon? I just need full clarity.
Yeah, I'll pick him up.
Okay. Thank you. Like, it's okay if you don't. I just need to know. Yeah, so Calagon, yeah, you scoop him up, and do you just kind of like, like pragmatically do it? Do you like exasperate it all? How do you grab him?
Luggage.
You just luggage pull like on the scruff.
I
And
do
just
have
like
horns.
get him.
We all have worms.
Like you're carrying a sleeping bag on your arm. You just
Princess
kinda-
Carrie.
Yeah, so yeah, front torso, arms dangling, just dragging on the ground.
Just gonna make sure his hand
Honestly, it's
doesn't
kind of like buffing your fingernails a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
kinda love
kind of
it.
a bonus.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, so the automatons move in, and a few of them move past you, dispersed to other areas. And I would say a collection of maybe, if there were 20 some odd, 2 rows of 3 wide are like escorting you behind you, maybe like 3 feet from like the last party member in your sort of cluster here as you make your way. And without any real direction, you all kind of make your way down this hallway, and you're just kind of walking and going, and the halls turn and twist, and the automatons sort of like begin to like corral you guys down a certain direction. So if you're all just kind of like keeping pace with them, and not wanting to really test that, which you totally can, but if you're all kind of like keeping pace with them, they sort of direct you down like these twisting corridors, and eventually they sort of stop in this plain hallway. There's a few of those like like the castle windows that are like those really narrow slits,
You mean
right?
like for archers?
Yeah.
Yeah. That you would have kind of like on the ground level of a castle. There's a couple of those on kind of like your right on the wall, and on the left there's like this really heavy like dark door, like wood, super thick, with sort of like this big, very plain looking brass ring as a handle. And the automatons sort of like stop there in front of it, and you're kind of like they're like pushing you all from behind. So they come to a stop party in front of the door.
I point to it very weakenedly, and with my voice shaking, I say, "Can someone please knock that obnoxiously?"
Sure. I go up and I go,
Because okay, and so to clarify, you're like patting repeatedly. You're not doing like the cat thing of like stretching the
I
door.
can intersperse it.
Okay, so it's a little.
When I'm done, I put my hands on my hips as if I'm expecting something and they're late.
Yeah. I think after a moment, the door, right, it's not like a handle, it's just kind of like a pole that you could push as well. The handle like jingles a bit as the door is like yanked out of its frame and open, and you see kind of like this like 5'6", the same sort of like insect creature Vondon that you saw before. He has sort of like a almost like V-shaped torso. Again, like this like kind of like pale green. Midsection is like maybe a bit of a sort of like very dark gray, almost black, kind of like charcoal colored. And 2 legs, very thin, and 2 sets of arms, so stacked above each other on either side. Is segmented body, but segmented in the way that like a like an upright like humanoid creature, like it's segmented into like limb pieces, right? So like kind of at each of our joints, you would see this segmentation. And he like looks at you, up at some of you, down at Kels on the floor. Antennas like start going, and mandibles twitch, and sort of communication this time. More, you guys feel like a little lesser of that pressure, but it feels like when you're kind of like deep underwater, right? But like just contained to like your frontal lobe, like a little bit. You guys hear his speech of like, okay, we're doing this, I guess. Yeah, come in, and kind of like backs off to the side, and again on two legs, sort of robed clothes, but like open in the chest, belted. Doesn't seem to be wearing pants. It's just kind of like this cloak.
Oh, our kind of guy.
Yeah. With this sort of like exoskeleton carapace. So it's cloak belted. And like as it walks, like you can see its like its legs. And goes around and sits behind sort of like a great like wooden desk. And I say great in like size. It's like a little too short for him, and he's like not like a particularly tall creature, but when it sits down, his arms are like way down here. It's not quite right, not fitted to the creature. And you guys look inside, and you know there's shelves with all sorts of like ornamental, like little brass doohickeys, and books everywhere. It's you know. Candles and all sorts of things. You see mostly it's lit in places by like these kind of like floating orbs of like a light cantrip that just seem to be generated by some of these like contraptions. And you see some like bigger kind of like very very thin component, but like these bigger like amalgamations of pieces with like fucking wheels and exposed gears and shit, and like not quite sure what they're used for. So there's a smattering of chairs. I would say there's maybe like 5 chairs pushed into various desks, you know, a couple in front of his desk, and otherwise the rest of you will have to find a place to go. So yeah, where do you all kind of move in this room?
I stand.
Stand. Okay. Do you like walk way in? Do you kind of stay by the door?
I stay near the door. I walk
Stay near the door.
in.
Yeah.
Head toward like the right.
Totally. Yeah, and so you head off, and you know there's a like a large bookshelf behind you, and kind of peer over it. None of the books are in the language that you recognize. Some of it looks to be kind of like common, but a lot of it looks to be in these sort of like weird languages. The rest of you, where do you kind of move into this room?
I direct Cal to lay me down on the desk.
Sure.
Like his desk, like Vonden's desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walk past him like he's not there and lay Oberon on his desk.
Yeah, so it's like covered in like papers and open books and kind of the holders, and there's like for sure like a tray of documents of like in and out, right?
Sure.
Do you like knock any of this over? Or do you just drop him right on
All
top
the
of
books
it?
look kind of soft, so I'll put him on those.
Okay.
They are soft books.
Yeah. I would say your feet kind of like are like up on the like document tray. And so you're spread across it. Are you still being like blah?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
The only
Vonda
way the party
looks
will
like
ever
taken
be is
aback and
rats.
sort of wheels back a little bit, and then like also like takes a pen and kind of like pokes you like with the back of a pen.
Don't touch the face.
Right. The rest of you guys kind of move in. Unless you have a specific thing you want to do, you can just kind of move in
I'm
here.
sitting on the floor
Sitting on the
with
floor.
Saul.
So you're sitting on the floor with Saul.
0 chairs have been used.
I'm playing
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not very chair-friendly people.
I would say the elf kind of comes in and grabs the chair directly in front of its desk and is like looking like over Oberon's kind of like midsection at the dude, Yev, wherever you'd like to be. And so the door kind of like closes behind you all, and you hear kind of like the heavy metallic regimented footsteps of the automatons, just like the constructs make their way off. And so it's just you guys in a room with Vonda, and he kind of like surveys you all and looks at you on the table, and it looks like if this was again, no like facial senses, but it definitely is even stiffer than the moments you saw him, being like, right, so let's talk solutions, right? So your friend here, I don't speak Eladrin. Can any of you translate? And she sits there kind of like looking like a little like stressed and looks kind of desperately towards you, Yev.
Translate is a very strong word.
Right.
This is like 4 levels of like pigeon language stacked upon each other. We'll
Okay.
try.
Okay.
You're doing so
Okay.
well.
You know, he kind of like gestures to her, gestures to you, and she begins to speak, and it's a lot of the same stuff. Do you relay it back faithfully, like
Well,
to
isn't
the
it
best
just
of
that
your
like
ability?
she was attacked by other elves? There's nothing really
Yeah.
like incriminating there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, you tell him she was attacked by other elves, and do you communicate anything else from what I told you?
I mean, what else did you tell me?
I told you kind of like where it happened.
Yeah,
there was a
like,
research team they
those
saw.
don't really feel like details I need
Yeah.
to keep from him.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I feel like I need to kind of keep close to the vest, like nothing really engages with like us or our
Mhm.
deal. It's just
Mhm.
like the politics of the realm, which I don't super care about.
Yeah.
So unless there's something like secret that actually affects us, he gets it.
Cool. So yeah, I would say then you give him everything.
Yeah.
He like nods kind of slowly as you're talking, and you explain something, and you listen to her, and you're like, well, not quite that, more like this, and he's like just nodding very slowly, paying a lot of attention, and he really picks up on the like Socardian research team that was out there, that they were kind of taken as well. He looks at Oberon.
Hi.
And just on the desk, and he says, and you, fey creature, anything you want to add?
I'm in pain.
Okay, great.
This hurts.
Very helpful. Well,
Ow. Ow.
yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I understand sort of the you know, I like to see things resolved. I'm not a monster. I'm looking to resolve. Excuse me. Do you have something you'd like to
Oh,
say?
not the bug racism.
Can I touch your little feelers?
Here's what would happen, right? If
gonna
you
go to
tried
HR
to
now.
touch my antenna, if you tried to touch my antenna, here's what would happen. A wave of kind of like raw psionic energy would just ripple through your mind. Now, there's a chance that you would be fine, right? And I want to posit that to the rest of you. There's definitely a chance that you'd be okay. But what's way more likely to happen is, well, actually, you wouldn't be too far off of where you are now. You just sort of be like blithering for, I don't know, like 3 to 6 weeks. And, you know, if you recover from that, whatever mental faculties you do have, right, would be significantly hampered for the rest of your natural life.
We don't have a lot of mental faculties.
No, I'm getting that. That is very evident to me in this situation here right now, yes. Which is actually why I wanted to have this conversation in my office rather than
Do you have an
outside.
ethics training course you could maybe set us up on?
Ethics training course.
Yeah, just to how to exist in the workplace.
Is this a workplace?
No.
It feels like it.
And he sort of leans back. Okay. I want to reiterate. I appreciate you all. And I kind of like omitted this for now, but like Toots is also with you.
Oh my god, I
I've
forgot
like
about
completely, I've like completely forgotten.
I've been thinking about him.
I completely forgot. But no, Toots is with you, just kind of like hanging back, being a good sport about everything. I think maybe like Calagon, like you felt your good instinct to like scoop up Oberon, and Toots has been like kind of like eyeing you like from like 3 feet behind since then.
If you wanted to pick him up, you should have picked him up.
I don't think it registers. It's Toots'
No,
deal.
I
It's Toots' deal.
ignore Bug Wizard. Toots,
Yeah.
you got a problem. I respect you all's relationship. I was just trying to help out, but don't give me this evil eye over this shit. Sorry, so we'll be right with you.
Toots kind of like
want you
proceeds.
to know that, you know,
No, it's
if
fine.
you felt
It's
like
just
that
kind
was
of
your
like-
deed to do, I'll let you do it.
I'm an equal opportunity picker up.
He's over there on the desk right
Yeah.
now. Go get him, man. I just don't want to get in the way of anything, you know.
No, I appreciate. Look, I was just being a little jealous. You know, there's a lot going on right now, and I also kind of wanted to like keep myself between you all and the fucking robots. No, it's look.
want the
I'm
best
being
for you
stupid.
guys,
I'm
but
glad you
workplace
said
romance,
something.
you
I'm
know.
glad you said something, right? Because it's really just kind of like building, right? But it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not anything. It's
Okay.
just
Okay.
it's just my perspective. It's
I
just
just-
jealousy. It's not even a thing. And now that it's said it, I see
Well-
how silly it was. It's cool. We're cool. We're cool.
All right.
No, I appreciate it.
What were you saying, little bug guy?
Vonda and just like anyway. Yeah, so I appreciate you all. Truly, I do your service, fair and goods for Cogston. It's been a few weeks without delivery. We've kind of been dipping into our reserves. So I do have, in sort of a logistic sense, a real appreciation for what you all have done for my community. Which is why, right, I gave you that chance to explain yourself, right? I gave you that chance to come in here and talk kind of through our next steps. So please understand that I'm meeting you all in sort of a way where this whole situation is one I would particularly not like to be happening, but I'm giving you kind of an olive branch here. Do you all recognize that? I could just kind of like boil your mind. Like, is that clear?
I feel like I have to reiterate. You wouldn't be boiling much.
Yeah.
It's hardly
Yeah.
worth boiling.
And
Well, see, like, you know, I picked, you know, kind of like a soup, right? It's why I didn't use another metaphor. It's usually kind of vacuous of, like, solid matter.
Also, my people believe that people who threaten horrible things are actually incapable of any action. So
Right.
the more you threaten and march robots around us, the less I think of you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you have any power at all. I think
Yeah.
you're very
Oh, we're
weak.
getting boiled.
Yeah.
So I would say do your absolute worst right now. Demonstrate it on me. Annihilate me. Turn me to dust right now so that everybody else knows you're for real.
So he's like, all right, well, you know, obviously you're trying to goad me, right? And
No,
goat
the
Yes,
goat
that's
is already.
like-
I goaded
Oh,
your
goat
death.
discrimination.
We need an ethics training course.
Where's your HR
Do you
department?
have the Radar Blagojevich ethics?
You need a lawyer.
so, like, I get it. Like, I get it. You guys aren't, like, from here. Like, I did, like,
Oh, so
kind
we're
of,
not
like,
from here. Let me see
scan-
that from here.
I did kind of, like, scan your mind, here's the thing.
Without consent.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna
Ethics
sue
training
you.
course.
Yeah,
We're gonna
it's-
sue you.
Yeah, based on the way this conversation is going, I think it was actually the most ethical
You could just
decision.
Yep, as a lawyer.
You know,
Totally.
I said I was checking on something. So anyway, you know, I understand you're sort of standoffish here, and I'm not meaning to be like particularly condescending. I'm just trying to be clear with you all, right? Do you get that? Do you understand that right? I'm not trying to be condescending.
I have a question.
I'm just like really making sure we all know what the power dynamic is here.
I
Yeah,
have a
we do.
question. I need some
Uh-huh.
clarity.
Uh-huh.
What are you building here?
What am I building here? That is like such a big question, and
What
like,
were those parts for?
what were those parts? That presumably the parts you delivered, a whole manner of things. Then he stops for a second. He's like, "Did you open
No.
the
No.
shipment?
No, take a look at it. It's perfectly sealed.
Yeah.
You understand? I know how magic works, right?
Then why'd you ask us?
You
Like,
read
can
their
read our
minds.
Yeah.
You
Because
know
I'm
they're
giving
they're
you
not
the
capable of lying.
opportunity to be honest."
Yeah, we are being honest. We didn't touch
Be honest
it.
with us.
We don't
And
know
you were
what's in there.
choosing to not take it.
Okay,
Could we set up a deal with you where we add a little stall that sells some creams? We did that in the last town. It went really well, and I feel like that would suit both our interests.
See, I really like the direct. So you're on it. I'm gonna kind of talk to you for the rest of this here. So, you all, not to bury the lead. This has gone on for a while. But you all came from beyond the royal, and I'm gonna level with you.
You believe us?
I
holy
believe
shit.
you. I saw it.
Yeah, but
When did
you
we...
saw it in our minds, or you saw it
Well,
physically?
okay. At a certain point, I pushed past the relevant details of your last 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm not a jackass. I'm not gonna look further than that, right? Because it's not relevant.
No, but you believe us. No one else has believed us. They've actively thought that we were crazy and stupid and anything
Are
else.
they wrong?
They're not wrong, but not about the royal.
Yeah, no. You guys are in again, not to be pejorative, but you guys are in a place with smart people. I'm the assistant headmaster of the Silcardian College. You understand what that means?
But you're on the verge of starvation if a bunch of random assholes don't bring you food
No.
from the town where guards trip over their own swords.
Starvation. Those were supplies. As far as I saw, that was an accident. So don't need to worry about that. Look, you guys. What I'm trying to say is, I'm very interested in all of you, and I would like to help you out. And it was very prudent of you to mention some sort of arrangement here, because I think that's what I would like to offer you all. Okay, you've got to understand how this looks, right? You came in this elf who is covered in blood, right? Yeah, I've
bleeding in your
she's
office.
sitting there looking around, asking for someone to she probably can understand common, but not speak it very fluently. So she's tracking this no problem. And she's just gotten more and more stressed out again, just this sort of quiet 1,000-yard stare as you are, just harassing this guy.
I would argue we're being harassed as well.
And he's so you got to understand how this looks, right? Comes in talking about just slaughtered recon teams and
acid trips on strange shrooms.
well, okay, so yeah, that looks I'm not going to talk about the ethics of that, but those are other elves. Look, I know the difference. It's weird that you don't. Anyway, and you're all outside. You're the only people she recognizes, right? You encountered her in the past with that sort of that large fellow, and he looks around. Where's the little one?
I am playing with Saul on the floor with his little feetsies.
So I think I'm gonna let you're not. Saul, you've been sitting on the floor, and if you've been looking for Saul, if you've been wanting to hang out close, you haven't been able to find him, Kels. You've been scanning around the room. Did he get lost? Is he outside the door? So this whole time you've been sitting there just looking for Saul. Saul's not in the room. Saul's not in the room as far as you
Where'd
can
he go?
tell.
At what point would he have disappeared? Because I am imagining that he was with me.
Yeah,
when
I
we
would say roll history, investigation, whatever you want. I would say either of those to try to recall, or you could do just a flat intelligence. Any of those
not
three,
that.
whatever you think is going to be best.
That's a 10 on the die, so a 9.
On which roll, history
well,
or?
I have a -1 on all of them.
Okay. So yeah, you're trying to remember, and you're so distracted by things. The last time you really remember seeing Saul was before the automatons directed you, the constructs directed you back into the college. He disappeared sometime between Vauden talking to you, vanishing, and you all walking inside. That's the last time you were certain you saw him.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get up and go to the door and go look for him because that's my little guy, and I miss him.
You tried the door handle.
Yes.
The door does not budge.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Are we free to go?
Yes. But it's kind of like my door, right? Like I have like magical wards and you can't just like open it, right? Well, I guess you could before because I opened the locks, right? If I'm like kind of speaking in sort of like a material way. The locks are like on right now.
Our
Okay,
cat
that's
find our
really
ferret.
cool. However,
Okay, look, let's take care of this. Just like let's deal with this, right? And then we can find your friend because I'm
I
very
start
interested in
clawing
this.
at the door.
Can somebody just like calm her down? Do you need like a snack? Like what's the?
Oh, she loves a snack.
I do
What's
love a
this
snack.
He kind of like
Did
said
you-
over there. He kind of like gestures, and on one of it's sort of like a writer's desk where it like comes down and then you open it up and there's like shelves of like inks and paper and stuff.
That's
So he-
not what I'm hungry for.
No. It looks like that. It looks like it's closed, and he kind of points over there. So if you go over there and you open up, there's what kind of food would Kels be looking for as a snack? Kind of like a stress snack.
Good berries.
Good berries, just like a you see kind of like it's kind of like these like toasted like candied nuts with like dried good berries and
I don't trust this.
and you see kind of like on another one of the like it's a writer's, so it's got these kind of like shelves, so that's kind of in the middle there, and then on the other shelves you see kind of like a plate of like they look kind of like they've just been rinsed, right? They're kind of like still glistening with some cold water, look kind of like a little pile of good berries. And so if you want to kind of like pick at that, he says, yeah, that's just stop what you were doing. So anyway, back to business. Here in the college, we research kind of a lot of things. We're interested in sort of like the runic kind of like learned magic, and I wouldn't be lying if I said kind of the royal was not an object of fascination for us for generations now, as it's been for most people. I would think.
Do
And
experiments on us?
Not off the table.
Okay.
No, okay, look, okay, let me fucking cut to the chase here. So no, not experiments, but I am
Someone's doing experiments on us.
Oh my god, are we gonna be vivisected?
Off the table.
I am a
I
three
don't want to
creme.
be cut
Okay,
open.
my people are psionic. We have kind of this latent psionic ability, and
We don't know what that means.
it's not kind of like internal magic, right? It's this sort of like other kind of material plane, kind of like frequency wavelength in which you
He's
can
a freak. He's
like channel
Already did that.
energy or will like you could magic, but it comes from kind of this material place, right? So I've long posited that with sort of a psionic link, right? Things like teleportation spells or other forms of magic could theoretically move us beyond the royal, right?
So-
It's a magical storm, but the teleportation spells operate in sort of this way where you carve out space, carve out a location with intention, with will, with magic, and using psionics in sort of your own connections to your home, it might be possible to engineer some sort of like higher caliber teleportation spell to move you beyond the royal, and theoretically vice versa, since you all have experienced here.
So what you're saying is, using psychiatry, you're going to teleport us back home.
Sure. You know what? Yes. Correct.
What would it take?
What would it take? It would take time. It would take a probably we could get away with a brief scan of some memories, some strong locations that you all hold, in sort of a way that your memories might be able to kind of anchor a spatial place for a teleportation spell, where I, kind of this spell's crafter, wouldn't be able to target a location, but working this sort of like resonance back and forth of you being aware of a location, I may be able to send you to a place that I don't know as the spell's creator.
I have a question.
And if that's possible, I see no reason why we couldn't move greater and greater distances. Yeah.
So if we're sent back, can we like come back here, or is this like a Narnia situation?
I see no reason, right? If we can move you great distances to a place I've not been, right? And we could theoretically, right, logically extend that past the Royal, and then I see no reason why you couldn't move back and forth if I sent you along with sort of a scroll of teleportation back to a location within the college.
And a lot of people in this group can use magic. Is there any chance that we could just learn it ourselves and be able to come back?
The amount of training, the years and years of study that I think may just be beyond the capabilities of anyone here. It would take to teach you this magic. Now, I recognize some of you as sort of innate spellcasters. I hold sort of a softer respect than many of my colleagues. It's sort of a contemporary perspective. It's your own business, it's your own deal. Here we study learned spell casting and everything that goes into that. And even me pulling in psionics and achieving to my rank is sort of a fringe area of study, right?
I'm hoping to
yeah.
sense his motive.
So, go ahead and roll insight. Roll insight, yeah. So he carries on explaining, with this insight check, I can give you some clarity.
That was a 9.
A 9. So he seems very sincerely interested in this process. I don't know if he's looking at you guys. You can't tell if he's looking at you as guinea pigs or just but there's definitely an edge of empathic, an empathic edge to his voice, where he's seen into your mind. He's a psionic creature, so I think his compassion, right, his overall empathy is definitely beyond what a lot of creatures would otherwise have, especially here. And I think there's some sincerity and some genuine interest, some excitement in the prospect of being able to do this. Did anyone else roll insight? I would say, with a 9, that's more of a salient observation that all of you are getting.
Oh, that's in that 20.
Fuck yeah, with a nat 20. No, he's very sincere. It sounds like this is sort of some fringe areas of research, but it sounds like these are things he understands, but has a genuine interest in pursuing. So I think with a 20 insight, the questions that you would want to kick back to him are, right, how long this would take, right, what would he need from you, why would he want that? So outside of that kind of almost like a brief snapshot, a brief recording of kind of a strong memory or location that he could kind of work with until you're there to work back and forth. I think very quickly the conversation moves on as you're put off edge. This is just a really interesting guy who may actually be interested in helping you all. It would take a couple of days to begin this research. And to work with your snapshot. You guys come back and forth, work and testing, but you guys are going to have to kind of be a guinea pig in the sense that you're going to step into with the teleportation spell that should operate on premise. And there's ways to test this of sending objects back with wards of teleportation so that they blink somewhere and come back on sort of a time delay to know that this is a safe process, and quickly testing that with some sort of animals, and then testing it with you all that can work with him, the spell's caster, to go towards this location with the promise that you'll come back. So like there's an element of he's going to have to operate on faith that you're interested in working with him and finishing that part of the deal, and it's going to take some time. And he says, and so, you know, that's his offer. And then he says, well, and back to the matter at hand, and our friend sitting here, it seems like you might be in a position to offer the college some assistance where we would be able to do this research for you all pro bono, right? We seem to have a missing research team.
Okay.
Now, it also seems like you all can handle yourselves quite competently, and I'm not particularly interested in, you know, the automatons, my constructs. They're excellent, but they kind of operate...
Competently? What about this is incompetent?
You'll seem to have a propensity towards violence or getting out of otherwise dire situations.
Yeah.
Am I misreading that? I don't
No,
think
that's
I'm
true. That is
misreading
true.
that.
I'll give you
usually
that
don't.
one.
I usually don't. So the constructs kind of they operate on this sort of like ambient grid of magical energy that exists within the walls of the college. So you know, they don't really operate for even much outside the kind of greater wall there. So entrusting you all, and we could call this, you know, a job. If you're all still interested, you all did an excellent job delivering our goods, and I would like to hire your services. Again, kind of on loan from Cogston. I'll send a message across. I'll let her know that you won't be coming back for a little bit of time, but I would be I would call this sort of an even trade if you go investigate what happened to our research team and bring word back to me.
We were about to when you dragged us into Hogwarts here.
Yeah. I'm tired of working.
We don't work for Codpiece.
I want to
With
go
business
home.
partners.
Well,
I'll
your
do whatever.
contract says otherwise.
Doesn't have my name on it.
Doesn't have my name on it.
It has
I get
mine.
fake
You're
name.
reminding.
Well, that was listed on the
Who
insurance
signed the
policy.
contract?
I did.
Yeah, no, and so he's like, no, wait, I have a copy that was run up to me, and he kind of like takes a scroll out from by his desk and like rolls it out and scans back down, and he says, yeah, no, yeah, you know, one signature, I figured it was just kind of like a representative.
I don't think I'm a good representative.
You're like a fun little mascot.
Yeah, more of that, yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of like rolls up the contract. Well, what do you say we sort of make this official that, you know, you could have some security.
Can I get my union rep here?
Well, you know, you can have security in my institution that we will uphold our end. We'll commit our research, send you back, send you forth. Your agreement is that sort of in the meantime while this research is taking place, you investigate our missing research team and what sort of happened to this elves brethren. And that you will return, right, with this sort of time delay, a sigil that you agree to carry this sigil on you, so that after, rather than a spell scroll,
We're getting branded?
branded. No, it's just
Not
sort of
into
like
that.
a latent magic that gets, I guess you could say, kind of like queued up on you to trigger under certain conditions. The conditions being, you know, an amount of time before it expires and activates. That would send you back here. Right, and so then we could set something up beyond that. I'd be happy to return you home, but just to have the evidence that it goes back and forth as we sort of scale up to you all.
How
So
do you know
it's
we
like a
can't return
collar.
ourselves home ourselves? How do you know we can't just do that?
Yeah, no, so I'm not stupid, and neither are you. No one has ever crossed the royal, right? This is common knowledge. So I'm very interested if you all are you know, special in some way, or
Oh, we are special.
If there's sort of this like air of like, you know, when like, how do I put this without sounding just terrible?
No, you can sound terrible. We can take it.
You know, when you sort of like drop a child or a child like
God.
falls.
I'm
Many times,
sensitive.
yes.
Right,
Stop you there.
and
You're
and
a
like
god. You have an exoskeleton. How would your children get dropped?
I've seen a lot of
Okay.
creatures' history, and they like kind of like look towards you, right, to be like, oh no, like what happened? And you can kind of set the tone if you're like, worried. They'll start crying. If you're like, oh no, like they'll just kind of like be fine, right? So it's kind of like that, where like I don't know if you guys are just like you didn't like know better, and sort of you went like limp first per se, and just kind of like passed through some sort of like hole, or just kind of like slipped through and just kind of like landed kind of limply on the other side, and you didn't have anyone there to tell you like, oh my god, or like, oh shit, right? And so I kind of want to know what was there, right? You're the child who's fallen, and then you kind of like tracked me down to be like I bruised my elbow, like what does that mean? And I can kind of tell you.
So I'm gonna level with you, Vanessa. Like,
Bonded.
okay, I'm very tempted to take this offer. It sounds like a good offer, but I do need to know like one very important thing.
Yeah.
So that spell thingamajig that like just teleports us back. What happens if we're like going to the bathroom?
Well, it'll only be like a couple minutes on the other side of the royal. Like a couple minutes, get your bearings, maybe like 5-10 minutes. I can cue it up to be specific, but it's something we would talk about, right? As like, where are you going? How long do you need to kind of get your bearings and make sure it worked? Just like a couple minutes and then coming right back. So you probably would go to the bathroom before that.
One would hope.
Yeah.
I have a question
Yeah.
to GM. Is there a book on that bookshelf that is talking about teleportation?
Roll an investigation. Yeah, if you
Okay.
kind of like zone out and look behind you. Yeah, roll me investigation.
That's 10.
Yeah, with a 10, you see kind of books of all sorts of spellcasting. If you kind of like start browsing them, you see, right, it's learned magic, and like you've encountered wizards before, like on your continent, but it's kind of a different flavor. Just like a lot of things here, where it seems like they have these sort of like these runes, these like scriptures of power, essentially, right? That they can fabricate, right? And by completing these patterns, they sort of like channel magic, right? So a wizard in your realm might have like their spell book that has their ingredients and different things they need to like crack it. But here, they're tapped more directly into magic. So it's a lot of talking about sort of the Eladrin, like Feywild presence here on the peninsula, and how like with sort of like this like runic kind of like these almost like these spell circles, right? They're able to like channel that energy. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to you're able to get that in kind of broken common from the forewords of books, and a lot of them seem to be broken up into sections of like, here's kind of like the basic structure, and here's what different symbols mean, and how to like incorporate them to like channel specific spells. But I would say if you're looking for stuff on like teleportation and like transmutation and movement and stuff, even if you're flipping through books, you're not able to find anything on that specific topic. So he says, so that's the deal. It would be kind of official. I'm happy to hold my word and take an impression from you guys, and then you would be free to go with this elf here, investigate my research team for me, and in kind of my side of the deal here.
Then we'd be free to go. Are we not free to go now?
I mean, like free to like leave with a purpose, right? If we make that agreement, you're good to go.
I assure you, sir, we have a purpose of our own.
Yeah, and it seems like it's going home, which is what I'm offering you now.
I don't quite care about getting past the big storm. I would like you to unlock this door right now.
Well, how about this, right? For those of you, not terribly interested, be our kind of prototypes here, be our test sentient creatures. And if you're not interested in staying back, I would welcome you amongst our community. I'd be very indebted to our research, and if it's successful beyond our initial deal here, I would be happy to draft up some sort of agreement to maybe set up a business outside. I see, you have been, entrepreneurial during your time here, and please, by all means, you could bring that business here. You could expand, and you might be successful and live a very comfortable life here.
I don't think venereal cream is going to do well with all you nerds, but
Well, it could be like those stations in Antarctica where like they just get it back and forth.
True.
You would be. We're a very insular community, and our students range from kind of like mid-teens, depending on the species, to like late 30s if they're kind of completing their work. So things can get frisky.
Okay,
Yeah,
if you say so.
yeah.
I'm not interested in that. I would like you to open this door now.
And I would very much encourage you to kind of like agree,
How
and
about
we
we
can
get
sign a
back to-
contract.
Sign a contract.
Yeah, so that I can hold my end of the deal
Contract.
just like yours. And he's like, look, I've taken kind of like an impression of you all. Like I can draft it up in your native languages. It'll take me like a few minutes longer, right? And maybe I'll have to like ask a question or two. Take another like brief scan and kind of like roll through some childhood memories, like learning the alphabet. But like I know a lot of languages, right? I'm not in quickly. What do you all speak?
Can we just take a break
Mm-hmm.
away from you?
Look, okay, sure. Sorry. Yeah, no, I came in a little hot. All right, fine. I'll leave. Take the room. Discuss.
I don't trust
No,
this
no,
room.
no. How about we leave?
I think we get a lot of thinking done in like a garden,
Yeah.
Sure.
a lovely
Okay.
patio.
Yeah. No, so
Public
if you
space with
haven't
lots of
seen,
exits.
Yes.
and he kind of
We
like
should run.
gestures like behind him. So we are actually, I know like you didn't do any stairs or anything, it's a bit weird. We're actually on like the 30th floor right now.
I don't like that
in
very
sort of
much.
my own tower. So what you do is, and like I'm happy to give you these instructions, but like I promise you guys are gonna get lost and it's gonna suck. If you go out, you walk down kind of the left corridor and like keep a direction in mind, you may end up at kind of like our central garden back on the plaza of the ground floor. But I'm happy, if it's intimidate, like one of my constructs can like escort you, like just lead the way. It's like I swear to God, you guys are gonna get lost. Just they'll walk in front of you. There's no pressure. Like you can fuck off and get lost and like go hungry. Like I do care. But
Actually,
like
I am full of berries, so
Actually,
I will
we have
not be
months
going.
of food in my backpack. We can make this
Yeah,
town
no,
forever.
that's real type A shit. We can escort you to a garden. Take your leisure. There's kind of a cafe down there. You can get a drink, and we can get this one cleaned up. She'll join you momentarily. Is that good? You got to understand that I just like for your own good didn't want you just kind of like fucking off around the college. Like you will get like we will have to send a search party.
I can promise you we will not fuck off around college.
So you say that, and like I can like kind of like ambiently is intent. I go like I can like kind of like ambiently pick up the like will and intention of people around me, and
Ooh,
like
that's gotta be annoying.
Keeps people honest. Never had anyone cheat on a test. How do you think I got where I am and climbed the political ladder? It really helps to know what people are thinking if they're gonna like fuck you over. So like I get that you're just saying it, but like don't. Like it's really there's like no stakes here. Like it's really just in your best interest, okay? Like I know I came in a little hot at first, but like I think we can help each other. Okay?
I think it'd be best if we didn't have a guard. What do you all think?
No, I
Do
agree.
you want a guard?
Like you will again. You're like
This is just taking a long time. My urge to fight is diminishing.
Just open the door.
Open the door!
It's like, all right, and he just like, kind of like points a finger at it. The door is easy to be opened, and you see kind of like two of these the like brass constructs. His like antenna go for a second, and the Eladrin, she like looks at him and like nods and like nods again, and he kind of like puts a hand out, like gesticulating like he's communicating, and she gets up and she looks at you all. She kind of like briefly nods her head and kind of like shuffles out of the room a little kind of sheepishly and is escorted by one of the automatons off to the right. And he's like, yeah, it's to the left. It'll take you a while. Like, I could list all the turns, but yeah, just follow the dude, right? And like, I'm really good at getting impressions. I can't like plant anything in your head. That kind of like comes with some damage.
Oh
right?
yeah, that's an ethical violation.
Yeah,
Hence
no-
the course.
Yeah, ethics aside, like you will start bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose.
Already happened.
So like, I'm so please, by all means,
We'll call you.
sure. When you're ready to talk, just find one of the constructs, find one of the guards, and just let them know. They'll come and get me. Probably
Gotcha.
come back here unless you're more comfortable in the garden.
Well, it was nice to meet you, Van Gogh.
Fondant.
See you later, Mr. Vomit.
Sir Fondant.
See, like I know your like I can like read your serpent thoughts. And you all exit. Do you let the automaton escort you?
Yeah.
Okay. If I got one yes, no strong feelings. Yeah.
Keep
So
an eye on him.
it walks ahead of you. It kind of has this way of like keeping pace with. Starts off a little fast and keeps pace with you all, so it doesn't get lost around curves and without going up or down stairs. Just kind of like this twisting left, right, like past like what looked like dorm rooms and more like eating halls and classrooms and all sorts of things and research labs with like instruments and creatures, like little creatures in cages and gems and stuff.
We're little creatures.
Like little like non-sentient kind of like little gremlin-y
Roll
guys.
perception
Yeah.
to see if I can smell Saul anywhere in the vicinity.
Yeah. Perception on scent. I'm gonna call this on an 18 you'll get some information. On a 23 you'll get kind of a more thorough answer, and anything above a 25 you'll get a lot of information. So what's your perception modifier?
2.
Okay. So you'll need like a 15 or higher to get kind of any results here. Or 16 or higher, rather.
That is an 8.
Yeah, so with a 10, just you get absolutely nothing.
Okay, great.
Do you announce that you're doing this?
You guys seem pretty keen to just like wander away with the robot. I'm just like sniffing the air a little bit.
Okay, I don't think it
You
helps
stay
then.
with the party, though? Like, even loosely, like you're following, or do you
I
like break
follow
off?
at a distance.
Okay. And so if no one breaks off after, some like twisting and winding, seeing all sorts of classes and colleges and pass by some rooms that look like more artificery-y, you guys arrive at this sort of like massive circular courtyard. So it's kind of like right outside the entrance, and there's entrances at sort of like 12 o'clock and to your left and right as well. and tons of students in groups and pairs, and just like doing kind of like cantrips and some magic, and there's kind of like this big cafe, almost like a fucking like New York, right? Like park cafe with like outdoor seating, right? There, someone just what looks kind of like this weird, kind of like fleshy, like lumpy creature, not too far outside of the more like weirder shit that you've seen in the courtyard, just like making drinks and stuff.
I have
And
a quick question.
yeah.
Do I feel better, like after passing through the threshold? 'Cause I felt a little funky.
Yeah, so that's still an effect. You haven't passed through another one of those sort of magical membranes. So this you look up, right, and this is kind of like the kicker that I was kind of bearing here. You look up and you're kind of like inside this giant like cylinder, and yet you get sort of this ambient sunlight, right? Like you're not being walled in, but if you look up, it's like being at the bottom of a massive hole, right? So more fuckery, right, of the way this thing like the college manipulates space. And you look at the ground, like there's dirt, and you kind of like, if you walk and peer down one of the halls, you can see kind of like a straight shot out to the entrance that you originally passed through, and it's only like maybe like 300 yards of this kind of gateway. So this thing seems to fold and do different things as you guys move through the college.
So I just like straight up just get up, just because like, I mean, there's no one like around that I care about anymore. I don't have to act anymore. So I noticed the fantasy Starbucks, and I go to my team like, I'm gonna go grab like a little refreshment. Does anyone want anything?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Take a refreshment if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Toots, very like visibly relieved to see you doing better. And it's like, yeah, okay, and walks with you.
Okay.
The rest of you, do you sit? Do you have any business that you want to do? Do you want to begin discussing matters at hand?
I don't feel too comfortable still being inside the spire. I mean, I would like to get out, but
Yeah, this isn't out. We're still in it. We're still in the Shonies.
I feel like you can still read my thoughts. I don't know.
So can I ask the barista, like, if hypothetically, if there was a fire, where would the emergency exits be?
It's like busy, like doing stuff, like making drinks, like next, and like you come up, ask that question, just like full stop, stares at you blankly. Order something, or tip jar. I'm not like an information desk man.
Can I say you have beautiful eyes?
Go ahead and roll persuasion with disadvantage.
Gotcha.
Matt getting dragged along.
16.
Okay, with disadvantage.
Yeah, I know.
Disadvantage.
Yeah, but still, it's a good start.
It is a 12. So,
Okay.
wait, perception?
Or
persuasion.
Persuasion.
So that's a +5. So 12 plus 17.
17. I was gonna send Toots in to help you, but no.
Oh, I got this.
Yeah. So you walk up and can I say it? Beautiful eyes. And with a 17, this like bedraggled like fantasy like barista drinksmith, just like full blown eyes start to well up with tears and starts like sobbing like. Shit!
What did you do?
That's just
Oberon made that person cry.
Yeah. What do you do?
I
What do you want to do here?
Kiss them oh so tenderly.
I don't think that's gonna help.
Does it have like tentacles or like just a lot of hands or what?
Kind of like pale purple skin, and it looks like it has kind of like a thinner, like almost humanoid proportion skeleton, but all of its joints go into these sort of like bulbous, like thick sections of its body, and its fingers as well, a little longer than a human, and it looks like almost the way, like if you gave someone, like very specifically, the way like whale blubber sits on it, or rather seal, right?
Gotcha.
The way where like it's this like creature's fat content. It's like very rigid, right? It's like an evolutionary sort of like defense part of it. You know, maybe lives in very cold or extreme climates. On kind of like a normal human proportion skeleton.
Gotcha.
So it's this very, very large creature that moves like with this incredible deftness.
Okay.
So it's got hands, but these like very, very thick fingers.
Gotcha.
And it's sort of like it's got this like mass to it, this like squishy but solid mass, like everywhere, like even over the skull. It's like a thick creature. Yeah.
Okay. So I grab one of its weird hand thingies, softly, just like gently, just look into its eyes, like, I know you've been working so hard here, and it's obvious to me that you're not appreciated like you should be. I promise you that we can, if you join us.
Oh my god.
Let me cook.
We're letting you cook.
If you let us know how to leave here, you can join us and be freed from this capitalist hell. I mean, after you like make our drinks, but like after that.
I think you add in that last part, and your persuasion was an 18 or a 17?
17.
17. You add in that last part, and you, this creature is just like breaking down, like you're like nodding, and then you add in that last part, and it kind of like pulls its hand back and recoils and be like, another one, and just like wipes its eyes. He's like, get the fuck out of my line. Just like tearing up, just kind of like broken, just like I can't do this again. You can't let this happen to you every time. And just like stays next.
Understandable.
I walk up.
Do you like cut the line?
And I say, can I just say you have beautiful eyes?
Oh, campus security's gonna love us.
You're just like this look of like absolute fury, and like all of these like just like exhausted like wizard students, like a professor who's in the back with kind of like the almost like triceratops like head ridge, just like looks at you. They all look at you, just staring daggers into the back of their of your head. And the fantasy barista just like looks past you and he's like, does anybody have a real order?
Can we still order our drinks, or
Out of my line.
okay? Fine.
And like the students start to move up and be like, yeah, man, like I'm sorry, like I don't know what the fuck that is, and like put some extra like coinage in the tip jar. He's like, no, it's fine, and continue his business as usual.
Okay.
I think you should set a fire.
Where would you like me to set it?
Dealer's choice.
Okay. So they had this experience at the place. We're just in the patio, yeah? Us three?
I feel like we're in the center of the new Apple building and we can't find the way out.
Yeah, pretty much. But like we've been watching this go down.
Yeah, it's not like terribly far from. There's kind of like an outdoor terrace with kind of this stand. Looks similar to the stalls that you've seen outside.
Yeah.
You know, you could call this like equivalent to the size of like a college quad, but like a little more like ornate gardeny. There's a fountain in the middle. It's circular. Yeah.
I'm pretty ready to just get sent on the thing. I want to go home.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the party pretty much, but I'm not like significantly doing much of anything.
So I think if that's where your head is at, if you want to kind of like broach taking the deal to the party as you guys kind of like skulk back, you're kind of the five of you here, and Toots, the six of you, to decide what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love this guy. He seems... I don't like that he reads our minds. That being said, I like home better than I like this place where I don't speak the language and I don't know shit, and I don't know what the currency is, and we're all just kind of running around.
I mean, we can come, like, according to him, like, we can come back and forth, and that's really all I care about.
Well, exactly. It's not exactly, unless we die on the way. We're
Right.
pretty open.
Like, I need to make, like, my world tour, like, have an extra stop.
Absolutely.
Like,
This
so I'm
is
down
like a
with
show
that.
you can make.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not hugely enthusiastic about like the bug guy as a person, but
I feel like we could beat him up if we really could.
oh, definitely he's a bug.
Yeah, he's a bug. Like,
just squish him.
Yeah, right?
But I'm down for his weird little deal if you guys are.
Yeah, why not?
Well, I'm down for it regardless of whether you guys are. I'll be real with you. Join me or don't.
I'm down. I can be a guinea pig. I'm already a goat, so.
Yeah.
Kels, Cal, and Juniper.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I'm tired of working, and I don't really want to be a guinea pig. I feel like we could figure it out ourselves. I don't know how long it would take.
I'm gonna level with you. We're not smart.
Yeah.
And I'll say I want to ask for clarity. When you say we can figure it out ourselves, right? Is that something Juniper sincerely believes? Like you're really trying to get everyone on your side, or is it just a platitude?
She hopes.
Okay, so it's just a platitude. And go ahead and roll deception for me.
Okay. But she truly does hope we could.
Yeah, no. Oh, I don't disagree with you. But
I think it means you're deceiving yourself.
Yeah.
Self-delusion.
I'm a
So
negative
go
one
ahead
on
and roll
fate.
for
So go ahead and roll that natural 20. Fill yourself full of hope.
Okay, so that was deception. Okay,
We've all done that.
6.
A 6. Yeah, you all see kind of like Juniper is extremely mistrustful of everything going on here. I think you see that edge to her very, very easily, all of you. Which how would you say that manifests in sort of a non-verbal way with Juniper?
Non-verbal way.
Like,
okay.
are you like cagey? Are you like what's kind of like
I
the
pace a
non-verbal?
little bit.
Yeah, like in the office, and so like what are you doing now with kind of the anxiety of not trusting Vonda and not trusting the
like
college?
looking at the team,
Yeah.
looking at the exit,
Yeah.
looking at the team.
And you're like, no, like we can figure it ourselves. Like it's fine. Like we don't need like let's go. Like
Just like that.
yeah. And so the rest of you kind of see that, and you're like, shh. Yeah. And so Kels and Cal, like where you kind of landed on this.
It's physically impossible to agree to any sort of contract while under duress such as this.
We're not in duress. We're in a tower.
Contract won't hold up in court, is what I'm hearing.
No.
We have a case.
I attempt to use Druidcraft, just a 0 level spell to like make some falling leaves or any other effect.
Make some falling leaves. Yeah, with sort of a cantrip to just like. Here's the question: do you pull vegetation that already exists, or are you trying to create and then manipulate vegetation?
I'm actually not too familiar with this spell,
Yeah.
so let me know.
So it's your
I can
please.
instantly make a flower blossom, or I can make a harmless sensory effect such as falling leaves, a puff of wind, or the.
And so this is your druid craft.
Yeah.
I'm
just seeing if my magic works.
Yeah, so
In the suppression.
you're an effect like that, you're finding it a little harder, right? It's like riding a bike, and but it's been a very long time. So you're struggling a little bit. This sort of like impulse, this sort of like natural impulse it takes to get in touch with nature is that connection is a little foggy,
But it's still there.
It's still there, and so it takes a little bit more effort, and you kind of like move your wrist and pull some like low leaves from one of the tree, and you can make them trail and follow your intention, but they don't stay like as like focused as they would be. They're kind of like milling about and sort of more loosely following your path. So it's a little harder, a little less tight.
If they let us out of this, and he comes and talks to us without 20 robots, just him, and asks us to do this, I would say yes.
I think it's reasonable.
If I'm supposed to sign a contract, if I can't get out of this endless fucking suppression field, then no.
I think that's a reasonable request.
Any dissent?
I got on that ship to get away, and I am not going back.
You don't have to.
However, I will help you guys because you are my family.
Yes.
But I'm not going back. And I'm not going to let that bug experiment on me.
Also, where is Saul?
Saul! Oh no!
Okay, now I've been made aware that he's missing. Can I roll perception?
The last time I saw him would be when we were going into the building.
The last time anyone who isn't Kels
Yeah.
noticed him
Yeah.
was when the elf and the Eladrin and Saul both ran up to you.
On the way
And
back
I
down.
would say all of you except Kels immediately started paying attention to other things,
Sure.
and then noticed Saul wasn't with you in the
Okay,
office.
so I haven't seen him in quite a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My
So, do you want
boy!
to roll
Can
try
I?
perception?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's kind of like? Are you just like looking around? Are you tapping into some kind of sense?
Yeah, I don't think I have any sense I can tap into.
Yeah.
I'm senseless.
Cool.
That's a 13 plus 3, so a 16.
16. You get nothing.
Cool.
That was a 4, so
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that?
I didn't roll.
Didn't roll. Okay.
Should
Yeah.
I roll again?
No, I would say you're feeling kind of like demoralized after your
I'm having a terrible day.
you're feeling just like conflicted. You're feeling a little your faith is being shaken a little bit being in here. You couldn't detect Saul, and I would say that roll that you made earlier keeps going. So any further efforts are kind of on the same thing, and you've kind of seen him the clearest in that first fight with the Eladrin. So you would have the best time, especially with sort of your like ephemeral sense of magic, being able to detect him nearby, and you got nothing, and you still get nothing. Yeah.
I've lost my boy.
So if you guys are all set, based on Vonden's word, you would flag down one of the automaton that are sort of milling about. Some of them trail with the professors, maybe ones of like more diminutive stature, like carrying equipment, or travel with sort of classes carrying gear. Others are kind of just like moving about, seem to be on tasks. You could just approach one of them and let them know that you're ready.
We'd like to find our way out of this area through the portal, right? There was like an arch.
Yeah, one of the 4 exits here.
Okay.
You see it's like 300 yards, and you totally like see the exit. It's like a bridge, a spatial dilation into that main hall.
Okay.
So it's real close.
We can tell the Bugman to meet us outside.
Cool. So yeah, if you're cool with it, flag down the automatons. You specifically say like, "Come to us," and
we call him Wonton.
Yeah. So what's the specific message? And,
Wonton, meet us outside the suppression field.
and like, are you all talking over each other, or like, do you just let Calagon say?
I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the automaton, you flag down one of the ones that doesn't look like immediately busy, and it turns to you. It nods. They have these sort of like smooth, like featureless kind of heads. It's very like streamlined design.
Do they have eyes?
Do they have eyes? No. It's almost
Damn.
like a brass mannequin.
Once again.
Almost like a brass mannequin, I would say. Goes off. A couple minutes pass. You guys hang out and enjoy the weather, and before long, you see Vondan making his way out of different hall than you all emerged from, with sort of an automaton behind him. You can't tell if it's the same one or a different one, but it's going with him. So he comes in, he sits down at the table with you. You see as he like makes his way through the courtyard. Not like everybody like openly, but especially some of the like younger students, like kind of like stare at him like any of you can roll insight on this, and the professors and stuff kind of like straighten up as he walks around.
I got a 12.
12. What's the highest roll here?
What are we rolling for again?
Perception.
Perception. 15.
15.
17.
17.
14.
14.
I didn't roll. I'm just waiting to get out of here.
No, that's fine. So yeah, all of you are pretty much in range, and together you'll see. He seems like everybody kind of like straightens up around him.
Can I call everyone a nerd?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, everyone kind of like shoots you glance. Some of the like younger students like start laughing, and they call it nerds. And Vondon looks around. And he's like,
You've started a revolution.
and he walks over to you all and sits down at one of the table and like kind of like is a little awkward in these sort of like folding chairs and like moves in. He's like, yeah, it's yeah.
Do you think the chair's outside?
The chair's outside. We are outside.
Outside.
Outside, like outside the walls,
Yeah,
like in the
outside
courtyard.
of this building.
Outside of this building. I mean, like.
Do you
Look
guys
at
go
that.
outside a lot?
I mean, clearly.
I'm not getting the vibe they do.
No,
It might be something they would
I'm
incorporate.
usually working in my office. There's a lot of administrative plus my own personal
How well do you
work.
pay your grad students? I feel like the answer is not great.
Yeah, so it's kind of this thing of like, grad students want to be here,
Totally.
and
Sure. So I'm gonna
and
level
so-
with you, Vin Diesel.
yeah,
So while we like the proposition you're making,
okay,
and we need like you to make some sort of gesture of trust in us because you
Yeah.
can read our minds,
yeah,
and you can. You pretty much like are in the position of power here. We don't feel comfortable making a deal with someone like that. So if you could, if we could like make this deal like outside the walls, where we're kind of more on an even plane, we would very much appreciate that.
We don't like that you can read our mind. Let us read your mind.
Sure.
Let us read your mind.
You sure that's what you want?
Is
No.
I don't know anymore.
We're
Do
just
you
saying
want
shit.
that?
Yeah, so, okay, I see that you're mistrustful of me. I get it. Like, I'm different. You guys have
That's-
prejudices on the
You
other side of the
broke our
storm.
minds.
You
I'm a
got,
cat and that was a
Consent.
goat.
so,
We don't care if
let
you're
me,
bug.
let me kind of... that's the word, right? Cool. That's what I thought.
Is that okay? An insect? I'm sorry.
Also not great.
What are your preferred
Arthropod?
terms?
He, him, I am a Thrycreen.
Cool.
And he says it with like this sort of like insectoid like chittering.
Yeah.
In common, we're typically just called Kreen. Look,
This-
it's really not my job to educate you. All right, you need to like do your own.
Oh no, we
research.
will after this.
Okay,
100%.
cool.
Yeah. We appreciate cream kind.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I get it. You're a little off. Yeah, you guys have clearly never met someone that like is like psionically adept. It's fine. Like I've dealt with this my whole way through this academy, and I've still been able to achieve my position. So like I honestly, this is kind of the least of it.
So accommodate us and let's meet outside.
Yeah. So if we meet outside, right, it's not gonna be different. Do you understand that? Like this is just me. This is what I do.
That's fine.
Let's just go outside.
Yeah, we just want to be on a nice level playing field.
Okay. You mean like outside the walls or outside the college?
Outside the magical playpen.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see that our wards have caused you some distress. Outside and he kind of like gives you this like lecture about like the college. So outside like the main wall, there are these kind of like persistent wards that are like protection from good and evil, and things like that to like keep them broadly safe from creatures and beasts that would like mean them harm. And then inside the wall, as a matter of course, for the type of work that's being done there, there's kind of this latent suppressant, this like extra layer of security for anyone that can do like inherent magic, right? And so he explains that kind of on the plane, wizardry, etc., learned magic, they all come from here. There's no one who knows learned magic that would do harm to this academy. But if for some reason, someone who gets past those like kind of catch-all wards makes it to the academy door, their powers would be suppressed and not be able to cause us harm.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, right? It's like disarming yourself at the door, right? If it makes you feel more comfortable to talk like in the market or just outside the gate, I can have some tables set up for us. And if you guys, I'm not really comfortable going outside the walls, right? Because there may be some way you might have someone waiting in the wings, some fuckery,
Can
right?
you read our minds? Don't you know that we have no one?
Yes, no, I very much, although I may have psionics, it can be overcome, and truly, you guys have come from another region, you guys have come from beyond the world. It's entirely possible that you may be masking things from me.
I can assure you we have no friends.
We're chronically friendless.
Yeah, no, I get that impression, but
friends,
still, as a
that's
matter of course, I'm not really comfortable going outside the walls with you all, but we can absolutely talk and sign these agreements outside the college if that would make you feel more comfortable.
No. I'm not signing anything.
You understand that these agreements, right, keep me honest as well. You can hold me to task. Right, this is a mutual thing where we're not just going on our word. Or do you not?
Sort
Do
of
you
the
not
group
get
wants.
that?
I don't want his help, but whatever the group wants, I will do.
I mean, I feel like we can trust him initially, and if not, we could definitely beat him up.
Yeah. What do we think he
I'm for sure like
Gay.
right here.
No, that's okay.
Okay, cool. As long as you.
What did they do with the dying elf?
Dying? She wasn't dying. Do you think she was dying? Traumatized, yes, but like, she was fine. She got out. It's her family, her friends that are dying, which you can understand sort of my expediency with this and my research team. I'm very interested in you all going and assessing this situation, right? Those are my students.
So we can beat up the nerds if like they rally against us. Is my
We're very capable of beating up nerds. We
Oh,
know
yeah.
this by now.
yeah. So,
Sure, whatever makes you happy, I guess.
So I think this is reasonable.
Yeah, I'm on board. Quick huddle away from him.
Like you guys just like get up and
Again.
move to a different table. It's like I could have just
No, we just like remove the table actually.
okay, and he's
We
sitting
just
there.
strand him. We don't have to use our real names. Life insurance policy. I signed with a fake name. Again, we do not have social security in this place.
Oberon Trig's not even my real name, so
Yeah, stage name. We're really not bound by anything beyond like his belief that we're good people. He will know that we're lying. What's he gonna do? Call us on it? Again, no form of identification.
How hard do you try to conceal this conversation?
Medium.
Medium. He's just kind of
He
like
can read our
respectful.
minds.
He's like, yeah, no, I have an ambient. Just 'cause it's like 100 feet, guys. Like you just gotta.
Well,
I think it's a good plan.
yeah.
I think it's a good plan.
He's complaining, but it didn't actually stop us.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't feel good about it, but
I yell at
Alright.
him, "Where's my dog?"
I don't know. And I would say, kind of right about here, you see that the elf woman, she's totally clean. Probably right there's ways to clean herself, like prestidigitation and things. So it didn't take very long for her to clean herself up. She looks a little shaken, but she's walking comfortably with the automaton in tow that kind of like directed her here. She's wearing her clothes and like also the sort of robe very similar to Vondon of like open and like belt under like or over this sort of like leather armor as sort of like a gift, and she's kind of like holding her arms across herself, like kind of like the sleeves a little shaken. She makes her way over to you all and sits down. And he says, Language barrier aside, this is, allow me to introduce you all, Macaria, and she kind of like says, so it's something that sounds kind of like similar in Eladrin, and then she like tries saying her like, I want to say like anglicized, but like common like name and Cilia, right? And he's like, yeah, no. So we talked a little bit, and if you all will agree to this work here, we can give you a brief. And Macaria, I can give her a sort of a ward of like minor telepathy, so that you all can kind of communicate in your natural tongues to each other.
What else
And
can
she
you
would
give
be-
us for this?
What do you need?
Like,
Second bow.
what do you have that can enhance our abilities that we don't have to necessarily?
Right, so I'm going to stop you there. I haven't made this clear enough, so I'm going to do it again. This is a wizard college, right?
Yeah.
We have spell books, we have tomes, we have magical devices.
Nerd.
Now, most of this you guys literally could not operate. And again, this time, I don't mean that to be pejorative. I mean in like a literal sense, you are not capable or experienced enough to operate these devices. Now, we do have these sort of like magical charms and spell scrolls.
Give us your strongest nerd bomb.
Give us your strongest nerd bomb. Okay, so when you say that, right, it hurts me, right? Because I want to help you, right? And you're being like intentionally like condescending, and you're like obfuscating your request, which helps no one.
So being condescending and obfuscating your request is a bad thing, in your view? That's not a
My
tactic you would support?
allegiance, my responsibility, right, is to the students, to this college, right? I didn't know you. There's certain kind of levels of letting your guard down, and I hope that I've crossed a threshold with you all that you can kind of recognize that I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm offering an olive branch, and like I'm putting up with a lot from you all, and like I'm still being chill.
But you
So I'm asking you to kind of meet me at this level, and like if that takes some trinkets, like sure. But that just shows to me the kind of people that you all are.
I'm fine with that. Give us trinkets.
Great.
Okay.
All right, we're agreed then. And he whistles over to one of the automatons. He's like, I don't have to do that, but I like to. You have psionics. You spend a lot of time just like not talking, so it's kind of like. The automaton pulls out kind of like this leather bag. It lays out a couple scrolls in front of you. He's like, I'm sorry it took me, a little while here. Correct any language that isn't correct. But I tried my best here to match my approximation of writing that I've seen, just kind of being around you guys. He's like, again, I know that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but it's not like I can like turn it off, right? So like everybody just kind of has to be chill, right? Like everybody has to be chill, or it's like really kind of hurtful. So these are the contracts. Read them over. If anything's like misspelled, like just bear with me. And if you guys need any supplies or equipment, I'm happy to accommodate within reason. And so you guys see kind of this agreement in front of you that you'll go investigate this site to your utmost, do your due diligence to rescue anybody who may be hurt, assess the scene. Care for Macaria and whatever it takes that she will accompany you, right? No harm to befall her, and that you will return as soon as possible. If you enter a situation, that would like endanger your life in sort of a significant way beyond which you feel capable of defending yourself. You can kind of like back off and do kind of this scouting, but you will do your due diligence to retrieve anybody who may be hurt. So that is your obligation. Bondin's obligation, and it's signed, Bondin, assistant headmaster, of the Silcadian College, right? So it's got kind of this institution backing it behind it, that he will do kind of this scan, that it will be, it says like minimal invasion, right? Really just, walk into a moment, give him a time, a place, put that thought to your surface level. He'll kind of scan that, get an impression, and kind of do this sort of experimental teleportation. And when it's time to, send you guys there and back, like, you absolve all, like, bodily harm that may happen with this sort of, like, experimental process. And yada, yada, yada. But that's the gist of the agreement. It's in each of your languages. Do you all have any questions before you sign?
I walk away.
Fully Calagon walks away.
I walk out of the suppression aura, whatever direction gets me out first.
Yes. So you walk to the
tell the
exit.
group,
Yeah.
I'll help you do it, but I'm not signing on.
That is a man that does not want to go home. The rest of you,
Wow.
Can I sign for him?
he kind of like looks down at Calagon. He
I'll
looks
distract
back.
the bug man. You sign.
He looks at the rest of the party. He's like, look.
I'd like to perform identity fraud.
Again.
If the rest of you are cool with it, right?
So
it's
honest.
on the books. Let me put it this way: on the books of the college, you are all operating as sort of this like delivery crew, and with a representative, right, could sign for your entire kind of party here.
Get us the hottest representative you have.
Interesting stipulation.
Fully like panicked, looking around at the four of you remaining, is like, I simply wouldn't know who to pick, but by all means, whoever feels like they.
I'm not gonna sign that.
Right. I'm not signing it either. We can take it with us if that helps you.
No, that means nothing to me.
I'll walk away.
Okay. Well, would you like to sign for your group here?
Yes.
And I yell, don't sign for me.
I will sign for everyone. I will steal everyone's identity.
He gives you a pen.
Oberon is the realest motherfucker.
He gives you a pen. You sign, and he says, and list your sign here, initial here, mark that, and leave your organization name on this line.
Gotcha.
And so, Oberon, what is the official entity that you all operate under?
Official entity
Yeah,
that we are.
you get to name this party.
Oh my god.
Don't do it.
No pressure. No pressure.
I'm so scared.
I know, me too.
I'm suddenly just drawn a blank.
I'm so scared. Doesn't look good on a shield or a t-shirt.
How about the frightened simpletons?
You're sure?
I object.
Frightened simpletons
looks
delivery.
All right.
This is the problem with walking
or
away.
fade.
Is he's in the driver's seat of this now.
So, frightened simpleton delivery.
Incorporated.
Or comma FSDINC.
Yes.
Right. Cool.
Sid-
And so the ink dries, goes great, and he slips it back. So there's another copy. He's repeat all of that. Do it again, and he rolls up the first card. He's like, cool. So we will keep this. This is an agreement through me and the Silcadian College, who all agree to uphold this arrangement. And the frightened simpleton delivery group, he just like, so here's your copy. We will keep this on record. I'm happy to supply you guys with, again, within reason, with magical trinkets, spell scrolls, artifacts that may help you on this mission. They will, of course, right, be kind of like borrowed equipment. So if they're damaged, right, we'll expect payment back in material or monetary value. And upon your return, we'll expect you to kind of like return those to our armories and archives and etc. Now, if you'd like to pay for anything up front, I would offer you kind of at the not like a inflated rate, but at kind of the standard equipment purchasing rate that anyone going out, any of our students going out on expeditions would pay for.
Okay, so you're smarter than me.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't deny it.
No, it's true.
So, like, I like pile up my money,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, buy for me what you think would be most important.
Toots kind of like looks at you. He's still there, and he pulls out a coin purse, which for him, of his like stature, is like this big. So it just kind of like goes and sets it down. He's like, yeah, add this in too.
Yeah. Also, make it wacky. I need to fit. It needs to fit my aesthetic.
All right. So Vondon sits there and like whistles to the automaton. The automaton like scoops it all up. He's like, cool. If you all want to meet, clearly you're uncomfortable. If you all want to meet outside of the college gate, right where we first spoke, meet me there. And he kind of like thinks for a second. About an hour. I'll assemble some materials for you all. And then he kind of like silently, his antenna go. He looks at Makaria. Makaria like nods, like gesticulates. She like laughs for a minute and looks at the contract, like gestures at the contract. And he's like, she's like, and he's like, cool. I'll get her situated with a ward of minor telepathy, and she'll meet you out there as well.
We promise to make you proud, Vatican City.
Wait, so he was willing to meet us outside later after we signed the contract?
When he says we, I think he might be using the royal we of whoever's giving you the equipment. He seems, very bedraggled, busy, not based on the reaction of the students. He probably doesn't come out of his office very much, so somebody will meet you with supplies and equipment, right? Right outside the entrance for you to pick up in a little bit. So he needs about an hour. He'll figure out what you guys need, put it in order, and get it all assembled from like a quartermaster who will kind of like deliver it out front of the college. Again, not outside the walls, but outside the college. Cool? Cool.
Yeah.
So with that, he nods. He's like, I would say it's been a pleasure, but... And he just kind of walks off.
We get that a lot.
Well, guys.
And so, those of you who've kind of like taken off. The rest of you sitting at the cafe there can all go meet the rest of the party outside the main gate of the Socardian College. Those of you pass through that threshold. You feel kind of your attunement to your own abilities return with no issue. If you like were to jump in and out, it's kind of just like an immediate thing. It is suppressant. And so you're all right outside. You're back into the market where you first ran into Makaria. And what would y'all like to do here? We can kind of summarize your last hour and pick up next session with you all taking off. So what's kind of the last things you would like to do before getting your equipment? And if you have no business, you have no business. That's also fine.
Where are we?
You're right. You all kind of assemble right outside the entrance of the college, right where that crowd was, and you met Makaria and Saul.
Is there a robot with us right now?
No.
Are there other people around us?
Yeah, I would say there's, maybe a few, like, looky-loos who've, like, stuck around, but it's been, like, an hour or 2 hours since you guys got there. So, the crowd is really dispersed, and it looks like business as usual.
I walk up to one of them, and I go, have you seen my little stinky rat?
Do you try to find anyone in particular, any or just approach someone at random?
I just approach someone at random.
Just approach someone at random. I'm gonna roll a luck check. We're gonna break this into 5, so it's gonna be that's gone.
Very lucky.
Thank you. So like 1 to 5.
That was a 4.
Thank you. So like 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, in increasing value of who you accost. So that is a 19. That is a 19. So you just on a happenstance, you look around and you kind of like shamble over to like this kind of maybe slightly shifty in the way that like a tabloid reporter is shifty, right?
Love that,
They
man.
look like they got something going on. They look like they're always got their eyes open looking for shit. And he's just kind of like leaning up against the wall, talking like super animatedly with someone else. This guy is kind of like I would say like almost like tiefling adjacent. Not like kind of these like richly colored skins of like reds or blues or greens or yellows. Sort of more kind of like a middle flesh tone, but he has sort of these horns right around the impression of them where they're growing out. They're maybe 1.5 inches. These sort of thin come to a really fine point. And sort of like the angular, like classic devilish type features. No tail, no like weird ears. So, adjacent. And the creature he's talking to like this kind of like gruff, like dwarf. It's like kind of bent over and they're like talking super animatedly. And so you approach the two of them, and what do you say and to who?
I go to the one that looks like Yev, and I say, "Have you seen my little stinky dog?"
Like turns to you, like kind of like look at confusion, but like snap look, and like expression like totally changes, and they're like, your stinky dog. Are you talking about that little dude, like little thing? Yeah. And he like kind of like puts his arm around you. He's like, no. So you see, I saw them like bound off, and I'm sorry if I could get like some kind of like a statement or something. What's your name, friend?
I was never given one.
Roll deception. The rest of you, as this is happening, do you have anything you want to do? Do you kind of like stick around?
Yeah. I asked Cal, where are you going with this?
Wherever I want.
Can I come with you?
Sure.
It's a 19.
So this like muckraking, like tabloid, like kind of like rumor keeper, right? Out like hanging out outside the walls, goes like, "Oh, friend," he's like, pats you on the back. He says, "Don't you worry, buck up." Right? You got he says his name is, and I'm just gonna fucking pull from this list. Lefear. He's like, your buddy Lefear's here. I will, no. Like things are gonna look up.
Thank you.
Yeah. No.
You know what would make me feel like a lot better?
Yeah. What?
Where's my dog?
Yeah, so I think, together if we look, I have a lot of connections in this city, right?
you.
And so if you want to, like, walk and talk, like, kind of, like, tell me a little more about yourself and, like, man, what was happening over there,
Can I, like,
right?
run into this conversation, just, like, move?
I have amnesia.
Just, like, shove her aside and just be like, so you have connections. Is what you're saying.
Connections. Yeah, friend, and, like, really, like, grabs your arm, like, a
No, I'm
little
into it,
too. Yeah. Like, really, and he's like, yeah, no, I got connections. Like, what do you...
What's, like, the hot goss around here? Like, what's...
hot goss?
Yeah,
Well,
what's the hot
the
goss?
hot goss, like, and if I'm being honest here about the real, like, hot goss around here,
Yeah.
right? Like, if we're being, like,
Yeah.
like, I'm leveling with you,
Yeah,
like,
level
this
with me.
is the hot goss.
Yeah.
It's like whatever was happening with you guys,
Mm.
like, that's kind of what's on everyone's mind right now.
Gotcha.
And, like, it's like, typically the Solhardians are the only ones who go, like, in and out of the tower. So, like, you all going in there's, like, kind of a big deal. So the hot goss is like, You, friend?
Wow.
Yeah, so if you could, like, tell me more about that, like, that would be...
I would love to.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, my
And,
name's Oberon Trig.
yeah. That's... you start...
Oberon.
The door, he, like, at the, dwarf who, like, flips out a notepad, just like, yeah, man, like, yeah, cool, yeah. And, like, is, like, jotting everything down and walks off. They walk off with the two of you. You get no sense that they know where Saul is specifically, but they're like, yeah, we'll help you look. Let's just, like, keep walking and talking. Like, we'll canvass the area. Look, I've got connections, and we will find your little friend.
This is the worst day of my life.
Yeah, no, and the kind of like dwarf like nods like solemnly and like pats you on the thighs like, yeah, no, I get you. And she's like, tell me all about it. You just let it flow. And the two of you take off with them. Rest of you, anything else you want to do? Yeah.
The old guy with the beard, the professor condescended to me. Is he here?
At the beginning, no. You know, whatever class was probably over, you didn't see them in the courtyard.
Oh,
it would be, you know, maybe you could run into them outside the college walls, but you have no reason to know why or why not. Yeah.
I was just remembering how flammable that long beard was.
Yeah, no, totally. Totally. Well, if that's kind of what we're doing here, you all take off. The rest of you kind of like mill about. You know, if you want to like go up and down the shops, like just kind of like see what's good, grab a snack, whatever. You can all kind of like meet back there in an hour, and you see kind of this like really like stressed out, kind of the same energy as like the younger guards from Easton Port, of that like nervous energy of you all recognize as one of the like quartermaster when you walked in, one of his assistants. They were like flying around this like Arakakra that like assessed your good. So he's just like kind of like nervously like wringing his hands, looking back and forth, like literally looks like he doesn't know what to do with himself. With like 10 automatons just like forming like a semicircle against the wall. And inside of them is like a table that was moved out here, like laden with goods. And you see he's like kind of like nervous, like this is some valuable shit, and like I don't know what to do. I'm responsible. Like this is like a big responsibility for him. So he's kind of like shifty. And as he sees you all approach, he like looks relieved and immediately like more stressed, right? Because now like his kind of like sword of Damocles paranoia, it like has a face, several faces, and you all approach, and that is where we're gonna leave it. And oh yes, and Makaria is there as well, and she kind of like waves to you all, and that is where we're gonna leave things until our next episode. Yay! So next episode, you know, we're kind of barreling towards our. Well, cool. I'll be a giant black square. There's something like ominous and powerful, like a monolith, that's just like demanding. But yeah, no, we're barreling towards our ending. No surprises there. We are rounding out the semester. So you know. Maybe another episode, maybe another 2 episodes. What's gonna happen? Ooh, we're gonna find out. Shit's gonna be rad. You're not gonna want to miss it. So thank you for watching this far. Thank you for watching this series. We're headed towards the end. If you're watching this live, come back this Thursday for All Guts No Glory. If you're watching this later, watch All Guts No Glory. It is worse and better and different in all sorts of ways. But it's interesting and it's fun, and you see a lot of familiar faces, so check that out. And check out our pirate one shot that we just did for SalukiCon. That was a lot of fun. And again, more familiar faces, and that was worse and better and different in all sorts of ways that you would have to tune into to see.
They say pirate worm shot?
One shot.
Your pirate
One
has
shot.
worms. worms.
Okay.
Pirates
Most
get worms, you gotta worm
do.
them.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Like a
Do you have a
string.
cream for that?
I do.
And that is what you're ending on. That is it. That's the bit. Cut the feed. Cut the